the day that I made you number one. The greatest days have now begun. With every beat of my heart, I will love you. Oh, with every breath I breathe, I will love you. No matter love have I seen, nothing can come in between. I love you.
Good morning, wake up.
The Good Morning Show.
Good morning.
On WBOK 1230 AM.
Wake up, New Orleans. Good morning. Happy Friday, everybody. I am your host, Dr. Ashanta White. Welcome to the Good Morning Show. My super producer, Nyron Sanders, is also in the building with me. Good morning, OT, wherever you at. We miss you over here. But y'all, it's Friday. It's Friday. I guess we could let our hair down a little bit. My hair is down. It's Friday. Happy Friday, y'all. But I came here to talk to y'all about, it's a continuation of the conversation from yesterday, but we're going to talk big picture. If you want to join the conversation, the number here is 504-582-9422. And I'm going to open this conversation up by talking about our governor. And it is being reported that Governor Jeff Landry is traveling in a $5.5 million plane recently purchased by the Louisiana State Police. I'm trying to understand it. I don't know how all of this goes in terms of ethics, but I'm just trying to understand the need for the Louisiana State Police to. All police departments have $5.5 million planes. It's a nice plane too. It look like a private plane to me. It doesn't look like, I don't know. Maybe it's for Louisiana State Police business. I don't know. I think I was shocked when I noticed that that some of our local police departments have real military style vehicles. I was shocked when I saw that. So maybe I just don't know what we're supposed to have and not supposed to have and who pays for it. But the governor is traveling. I wonder where he was going in a $5.5 million plane while we trying to figure out how to humanely house folk here in New Orleans. And it's so crazy because after the conversation yesterday, I learned so much more about this, in quotation mark, industrial area where our unhoused population is now being housed. I read somewhere that there's over 120 people now being housed in this warehouse. But I also learned that it is it's like backed up against the historic Pontchartrain Park. So it's not that industrial in terms of, we were told that it was like out of the community, now these are not my words. You could go back and watch the show from yesterday, but because for me, all I want to understand is what is the thorough plan? What is the plan? So we're going to house our unhoused populations in the Gentilly area in this warehouse for Super Bowl. But then what is the plan post Super Bowl, and what is the long-term transitional plan in terms of where do we go from there? Because unhoused folk are dealing with, that is a crisis. That's not just something you could put a Band-Aid on. We have to really figure out how to implement services so that we can reduce the number of folks even living on our streets. And so this is what I'm asking. What is the full plan? What is the big picture plan? But let's not act as if this warehouse is not backed up against another historically Black community as well. So when we say, we're moving them, that is why we have to ask the questions, why? Why Gentilly? That's why I asked the question, why Gentilly? Because let's just be clear here. There are certain parts of this community that weren't even a part of the conversation in terms of where will they be housed. And when you have these sorts of issues, you have to start to ask the probing questions so that you can understand the rationale, because that's all I want to understand. Why Gentilly? What's the long-term plan, and why were our local officials, elected officials, not at the table when such plan was being discussed? Maybe James can help me out. Good morning, James. Welcome to the Good Morning Show.
I can't help you, love. Good morning.
I ain't gonna lie. I scratched my head when I saw him on the news last night. But the trip part is, I'm watching some people push big old loaded baskets up the lakefront.
Oh, wow.
Up the lakefront. I saw that with my own eyes. I'm not telling you about no news cameras. I drove right past them, and the police did too. The lakefront police did too. I'm like, dang, like this not gonna end well.
And
You
guess
know
what
these
else,
people have a
James? When I
these
went,
people have.
I'm sorry,
Go ahead.
James. When I went home 2 days ago from the radio station, there was an entire tent, like almost like a tent city under the bridge going down Earhart. When I was on my way home yesterday from the station, there was a big dump truck and like a crane or whatever it was called, and they scooped all of these people's belongings in a pile and just picked them up and threw them in a dumpster. But people telling me, how do I know the move wasn't humanely? What's humane about that?
Right. Ain't nothing humane about
Exactly.
trashing
So
people's
that's my
stuff.
point. I just want answers.
Yeah.
I just want answers. And let me tell you what I likened it to, James. Remember when they were knocking down the projects? I'm from the projects, so I remember. And they had all of these people cheering about the projects
like.
coming down. And I'm like, that's the only home I know. I can't cheer that when we didn't have any understanding of the process. They had just built us a new pool in my project. They had just built the whole other side of the Fisher brand new, and they knocked it all down without even letting us know what was going to happen, what the timeline was, how long we had to figure out what transitional housing would look like. Now, I wasn't still living there when it came down because they murdered my stepfather and my mom moved us. But there were still a lot of my friends and family members still there. And folk on the outside were like, yes, it needed to come down. It's an eyesore. But you're talking about my home. It might not be
But
a
look
home
at
to
this.
you, but it was a home to me.
But look at this. You talk about justice and equality in housing.
Right.
The people was telling you they didn't have a problem with. I mean, you had people getting drug out of city council. Remember?
Yes.
Getting drug out of city council about their housing.
Yes.
And now you stuffing people in a warehouse.
You can't
see
make
what
it
I'm
up,
saying?
huh, James?
You can't make. Look, you got people stuffed in a warehouse, and you shipping them way out here back to the back of the east in these apartments back to cluster living. So if cluster living is a thing of the past, then what are we doing here?
That's all I want to
You
know.
know.
And that's why I enjoy having conversations here on WBOK, because all I'm asking are questions that many folk have. They just don't have a microphone to ask it, right? And some
That
people
brother-
feel like their
that
voices
brother
aren't
just-
heard because they're just one person. But I happen to have a microphone where I can amplify the questions or the concerns of a vast majority of people who live in this city and just want to know, how come you're making so many decisions about a city that we're born and raised in, and we have no buy-in through our elected officials in terms
never
of
talked to
were
me-
they
you
at
never
the
talked to
table
me about
when the
any of
decision
it.
was being made?
And you never talked to me about any of it.
None
That's
of
what I
it.
was about to say about yesterday. The brother kind of upset me the way he was talking. He was talking like he okay with it, like he didn't understand a word you were saying, and nor was he interested in understanding the words you were saying. Because even after he agreed to the points that you all were agreeing upon, he still was on some, man, well, I'm just saying, like, that, as far as I know about New Orleans, what do you know about New Orleans, bro? Did you know anything about that area? Have you ever traversed that area? Because he sounds like he's from Baton Rouge. I don't know who this dude is.
I believe Representative Alonzo Knox is from Baton Rouge. I believe he is. He's a business owner here
Man.
in the city, and he's been here a while. But I believe he is actually, his origin is from Baton Rouge. And sometimes
Right.
people negate the importance of cultural competence, cultural relevance, cultural sensitivity, because when you belong to a place, when the dust from which you came comes from a place, you protect it differently, and that's just the fact of the matter. And so
the
for
problem
me,
is
I
most-
just
most of
believe
these people-
that we deserve the answers that we're asking for. That's it. It doesn't have to be a fight. We just want to know, like, why Gentilly? Because there's a rationale behind it, right, James? There's a rationale for why it's not anywhere else, right?
They just came from around the warehouse district. You could have put them in all kind of warehouses around there.
James, get off my phone.
Later.
I appreciate you over here. Listen, if y'all want to join the conversation, the number here is 504-582-9422. Thank you, James. I just want to understand the rationale. That is it. Because typically when we make decisions, right, we figure out a number of options, and we break it down to the most feasible option. So that means we had a rationale for how we went from 5 choices of where we're going to house the unhoused to 3 choices to the idea of putting them in Gentilly. That's all I want to know. How did we get to the idea of Gentilly? Why that warehouse that sits to the back of a historically black community? Why y'all telling us it's just an industrial area? You know, we don't have to worry about, you know, the mental health issues of this population of people. We don't have to worry about them roaming. We're figuring this out. We're figuring that out. Okay, well, just let us in on the plan, because the plan has already been announced to where they're going. So tell us how you arrived there. I want to know why our elected officials did not have a seat at the table, or better yet, I want to know if you did have a seat at the table, you're just not telling us that you did. Because if I keep saying y'all weren't included, somebody on the other side gonna say she loud and wrong, and we need to tell her who was at the table. Well, that's what I'm after. Who was at the table? Who was a part of the decision? That's what I want to know. And then I want to know the thorough plan. After Super Bowl, where are the unhoused population of people going to transition to more long-term? Or are we just going to put them back under the overpass because the tourists have left? So that's all I want to know. Somebody got to help me out. I also want to continue talking about our government, right? Because there's also a report by the DOJ that found that the Louisiana State Police engages in a pattern or practice of conduct that violates the 4th Amendment of the U.S. Constitution. The Department of Justice concludes civil rights investigation into the Louisiana State Police. I want to know, how does this affect the murder of Ronald Green? First of all, that's what I want to know. Secondly, I want to understand, how is that going to govern the way they police here in my city? Because if you have a pattern and practice of violating people's civil rights, then you don't need to be governing in this community where the majority of it looks like me and my son. So that's what I want to know. Questions that need answering. If this report has come out by the Department of Justice saying they engage in a pattern or practice of conduct that violates the 4th Amendment of the U.S. Constitution, where does that put Ronald Green's family in terms of justice for the murder of Ronald Green? First question. And the second question is, if the Louisiana State Police have a presence in majority black and marginalized communities where the DOJ has said that they don't govern properly, then I need to understand who's governing them in this city to make certain that they're not violating the civil rights of the people of this community. Questions that need answers. We're going to keep talking about it. We'll have that and a whole lot more on the other side of the break. Good morning, y'all. Happy Friday. This is WBOK 1230 AM. What New Orleans is talking about all day long.
On last week's From the Press Box to Press Row with Donald Ware.
For the Commanders, when we talk about great receivers in the National Football League, we rarely talk about Terry McLaurin. 5 straight years of 1,000 yards receiving, and even in his first season, he had like 920 yards receiving. So this is a guy that, since he's come into the National Football League, that has also gotten it done. But really, the key to the Commanders this year has really been Jayden Daniels and some of the things that he's been able to do, why this team is in the position that it's in.
From the Press Box to Press Row is one of the hottest sports talk shows in the country. Join Donald each week as he takes you on a journey through the world of HBCU sports and pro sports and interviews with top sports and entertainment figures. That's From the Press Box to Press Row.
Fridays at 6 p.m. on WBOK 1230 AM. What New Orleans is talking about.
NOLA Public Schools' main round enrollment for kindergarten through 12th grade is now open. With 73 schools available through the NOLA Public Schools Common Application Process, or NCAP, finding the right school fit for your family is easier than ever. List up to 12 choices to maximize your chances and apply by January 24th. We're all in, and we hope you are too. Apply today at enrollnolaps.com. That's enrollnolaps.com.
Hi everyone, I'm Dr. Jennifer Avegno, Health Director for the City of New Orleans. It's flu season, so now's the time to roll up your sleeves and get your flu shot. Flu cases are on the rise and affect every age. From handshakes to friendly hugs to touching infected surfaces, the flu can be transmitted to anyone, anywhere. Don't let the flu sideline you from all the fun things you love about our city. Getting your flu shot is one of the easiest things you can do to protect yourself. Be flu ready NOLA and get your flu shot today. Visit healthyheartcpp.org to learn more.
Welcome to Liberty Bank and Trust, where your financial journey transforms communities. Since 1972, our customized banking solutions power your dreams and fuel your community growth. Every dollar you invest with us circles back to empower more people, ensuring opportunities for generations. Join us at Liberty Bank. Together, we empower possibility. Visit libertybank.net to start banking with purpose. Liberty Bank. There's freedom here.
Making a difference in the community. WBOK 1230 AM.
Good morning, wake up.
The Good Morning Show.
Good morning.
On WBOK 1230 AM.
Welcome back to the Good Morning Show. I am your host, Dr. Ashanta Wyatt. My super producer, Nyron Sanders, is behind the glass. And in studio, we have a whole gathering of folk coming here to talk about the Martin Luther King Day celebration. We have Miss Valerie Jefferson, the president of the Women's Caucus NOLA, Miss Yas Monique from the Power Coalition, and Gregory Wilson from Step Up Louisiana. Welcome to the Good Morning Show, everybody. How y'all doing? So listen, people don't know the real conversations happen off air. So when we were off air, we were talking about finding all of the wonderful things that we could venture off into on the day of the inauguration, because I don't know about anybody else, but as for me and my house, we're going to be celebrating Martin Luther King.
Say it again, sister. You're right.
That's right.
As for me and my house, that's what we're going to be doing. So tell us about a little bit about the festivities you have planned for the Martin Luther King Day celebration.
Okay, like you said, my name is Valerie Jefferson. I'm the president of the Women of Action. That's the ATU Women Caucus. We join with Black Voters Matters, as long as our other colleagues, the organization, coalitions, and the politician of New Orleans. We gather together to have different events to celebrate our living spirit of Dr. Martin Luther King, because his dreams shall go on and shall go on through us, and we shall celebrate it January the 20th. Like you said.
Miss Jefferson didn't come to play. She done loaded the clip. She said, let me come up in here and let y'all know what we're going to be doing on MLK Day. Can you tell us more? The floor is yours.
Okay, so we met. Then we're going to celebrate with a march. We're going to have a table at the beginning of the march, at the end of the march. We're going to have surveys, because we want to listen to the people about voting. Mm-hmm. Why you voting, why you not voting. Because when you vote, you have a voice. Mm-hmm. And when you have a voice by voting, justice speak. And guess what? When justice speak, we won't have to worry about what's at the White House come January the 20th, because we shall speak.
Ms.
So
Jefferson
I'm here with...
I have been to the mountaintop. That's what you said. So, Ms. Yas Monique, can you tell us where the Power Coalition fits in terms of this coalition that is coming together to celebrate all that is Martin Luther King?
Absolutely. Good morning, everyone. I'm Yas Monique Hookfin with Power Coalition. But so far as Power Coalition, we are a state-based organization as well. And, we do a lot of policy advocacy around the state, along with our table partners, as well as Step Up and a few other organizations. But so far as what we are doing, what we're bringing to the table, definitely have, created like surveys and things like that, just so we can distribute to the public, just to, like, Ms. Valerie said, to be able to get feedback from voters in Louisiana, specifically New Orleans, because that's where we're here. Even though we are state-based, the march will be taking place, this march will be taking place in New Orleans, so we just want to hear from the voices of, those folks, as well as coming up with questions that, so far as like us as voters. what pings our interest, what are we interested in, whether you are, a voter around early education or education period, whether it be healthcare, whether it be criminal justice, environmental justice, all these things affects us. So we just want to just hear from the people. We have a relationship with the community. And I always say you don't want the relationship with the community to be transactional. We have to work together. We always like to be a bridge between, legislator and policy and community, so that way it can be accessible to the community so that they understand, what are they voting for? Do they understand, or do they have any knowledge or background information on, the candidates that are running, whether it be local or statewide, whether, they understand or whether they need help at the polls or anything like that. So we're just trying to get, some feedback from the community to see what they want and see how we can integrate that into the future.
Absolutely. And so, Mr. Greg, where does Step Up Louisiana fit in terms of the coalition, and what do you guys want to see happen at the Martin Luther King Day celebration?
Okay, my name is Greg Wilson. I'm the senior lead organizer over at Step Up Louisiana. This fall, we had the Fall for Liberation, where we had the organizing and training to go out and talk to people who had voted or who hadn't voted, and we continue it, right? So our mission is to hold our public officials accountable. So we're going to be planted, like they say, planted by the river to make sure that we shall not be moved. We're going to continue this, and we're working in this to make sure that when it comes up again, because election time is coming up,
absolutely,
right? We want to make sure that everyone is registered, and if they're not registered, they're getting out to vote. So this is a continuation of what we've already started.
So speaking of voting, listen, you're a fireball. You hear me? I can talk to you any day of the week. But when we're talking about voting, what steps are being taken to ensure that people who may face barriers to voting are included in the registration process? Is there a registration process in terms of the activities that are being done with the table situation at the march? Like, are you signing people up and registering them to vote?
Yes, we just like I spoke before, we have connected with different organizations. We're going to have a table for people that's going to be electric voting. We're going to have iPads. We're going to have tablets. We're going to have the phone. We have a scanner, a QR code, for you can scan it and you can register right then and there, or you can find out your status. Are you in good standing with voting registration? Then we also going to have it, we're going to have IWO going to be there for you can do it by paper. You can do it by paper, sign your registration and everything. Then we're also going to have a swag table. We just don't want you to just come. We're going to have something for everybody.
Yeah,
we're going to have some snacks. We're going to have some swags. It's going to be a fun time because, when we get together, it's all about us, right? So we're going to have a good time, and we're going to answer the questions. We're going to have someone there to answer the question for our community, that no one will not be left out. Everybody is somebody.
Everybody is somebody. Ms. Yasmonique Hookfin, how do you plan to reach out to diverse communities to ensure widespread voter registration and participation?
Well, of course, advocacy, but of course, just reaching out to folks, of course, going back to your base audience, reaching out to table partners, making sure they reach out to their audience as well and just give them the opportunity, as well as we're going to be putting out, flyers and things like that, just so people know what's going on, as well as, while they're out there, giving them election day calendars, giving them information. If you're a high school student, college student, or a formerly incarcerated person, giving them those options. Say, hey, if you are not a registered voter, or if you would like to be, here's the information on how you can go about doing that if you're not ready in that moment, but still giving the resources. All we are just to be a resource to the community.
So, Mr. Wilson, in terms of Step Up Louisiana, are you guys aware of any laws that have changed that you want to make the public aware about at the event? Are there any laws that you're going to discuss that have changed since maybe the last Martin Luther King Day celebration to this one now?
Well, actually, we're not going to get into that area right now, but we would like to do is make sure that we continue to motivate, inspire, and push folks to get out and vote. And this was the best opportunity so that all of the organizations come together, because there's been a split, right? And we're coming up to something on Monday that people got to understand we all got to be in this fight together. So it's going to take each and every one of these organizations
I don't
to
even
come
know what's
together.
happening on Monday besides celebrating Martin Luther King.
Right,
that's all,
right.
That's all. I don't know.
Yeah, it's going to be a
going
fight.
on.
You know, this year's going to be a fight.
Yeah.
And the
I think you said
nonprofits
something.
and unions are going to be in it for the long haul.
Yeah.
Right? The law is going to change, but we want to make sure that the first step to success is getting folks out to vote.
Yes, ma'am. Ms.
Yes.
Jefferson.
Oh, yes. On that note, come February, we're going to have different events. I mean, we're going to go to every area, southwest, north, and east. We're going to have events. We're going to have tents. We're going to have a showdown, slowdown. We're going to have a good time.
Ms. Jefferson.
And we're going to have a workshop about the laws.
Exactly.
We're going to explain about the laws. We're going to explain about the machine, because sometimes people, when they do register,
Yes.
they get, I want to say, nervous, because when they go in there, they don't understand how to use a machine, or you know how they writing the laws down. They're trying to confuse people.
Right.
So we're going to have a workshop to explain the laws and explain the machine, explain what's going on, how important it is. So it's going to have a good time.
Listen, I think too that's it's an important thing to talk about when you talk about the machines, because if you vote early, your machine looks vastly different than if you actually vote during the voting window.
That's right.
Because I know I went to vote early for one of the first times. I always vote on election day, but this particular time I voted early.
Okay.
So the entire process was different. I had to go to a table. They gave me a card that I had to put in some machine. I had never done that before. So that's important for people to understand that it'll look different depending on what time that you decide to go vote. And as far as the language on the document expressing the laws, we at WBOK here, we are trying our very best to make certain that we tell you what a yes vote means for amendments and what a no vote means, because all of the other jargon is written, it's legalese. No one understands it. My mother has to call every single time and ask me, okay, what are we voting for? That's anybody who thinks that you may have a better understanding. They're reaching out asking you, but everybody should be able to go in there and read something and understand it for themselves. So I hope that somebody in the legislature pushes to make the content of what is on the paper relatable to the folks who are reading it, so that you understand the power of a yes vote and the power of a no vote.
That's right.
Sometimes people skip completely over it because they don't want to feel overwhelmed about what does any of this mean.
That's right.
Sometimes people are just pressing buttons just to say they voted for something, and you don't even know what you voted yes to or what you're voting no to. So I think it's important. All of those points you made are very important. And I think between your organization, the Power Coalition, and Step Up Louisiana, there are so many ways that people can better improve or better educate themselves on what the laws are and the changing laws. And I know the one that I'm vastly concerned about is lowering the age of children to be tried as adults.
Yes, as adults.
That's the one that I am extremely concerned about, because we do know that there's very little equity in terms of how punishments are doled out based on certain populations
right.
of children.
That's right.
And we have to make certain that we protect our kids. And the one way we do that is to educate their parents and educate them on what the changing laws are. You cannot afford anymore to go out here and just do what you think you need to do, even if you're just trying to survive. We have to be smarter out here, because there are laws that are now put in place that 14, 15-year-old children,
That's right, sister.
right, are not seen as children anymore.
That's right.
So we have to make certain that we're doing that. And speaking of laws and election, so it says, how do you plan to address any misconceptions or confusion around election laws and the voting processes? If you want to take that, Power Coalition, or maybe Step Up.
We both can do it, but so far as like Power Coalition, like you all talked about earlier, just a few seconds ago, so far as like the disenfranchisement of, the amendments and, different bills and things like that, we have sample ballots. Power Coalition distributes sample ballots throughout, the elections, in every election. And what we do is we give you the election dates. We also, like I said, so far as like breaking those amendments down to put it in our terms, so where we can understand it.
Because I read them here on WBOK.
Because
really nice ballot.
Because what a lot of folks in legislators do, what they do is that's a way of voter suppression in my eyes, because everyone doesn't speak like that. You're speaking in a language that is hundreds of years old, and people don't speak like that anymore. And at the same time, you have to go based on your constituents, everyone doesn't talk like that, or everyone is not going to understand that. And I feel like it's our job, it's our duty to be able to put the power back in people's hands, because if they know what they're voting on and if they understand this, if you vote yes on this, like you spoke earlier, if you vote yes on this, this is what can happen. If you vote no on this, this is what can happen. So basically just putting the power back in folks' hands, so that way the choice is yours. But the thing is this, when we make those choices, we have to understand, regardless if it goes in the way we want or we don't want, we still have to hold those representatives, local or state, accountable. We have to get the community involved. They have to be involved and they have to get a voice. But again, how are you going to have a voice if you don't know what's going on? Because a lot of people, they're still focused on, they have to go to work. They have kids. They have different things that they're dealing with on a daily basis. But again, the resource is there and we're trying to bring it to light. And that's what, us coming as a collective. And I think because there's so many powerhouses in a room, this room specifically, I think that we can do it. I didn't see it done.
So then my question would be, because we're always talking about, Mr. Wilson, registering people to vote. My question is, there are hundreds of thousands of people already registered to vote who we know for the governor's race just didn't come out to vote. How are we motivating people, not just signing them up to vote, but how are we motivating people to actually come out and vote? What are we doing on that front?
Well, over at Step Up Louisiana, we have a meeting chapter meeting once a month, right? And during that process, we're having those conversations. It takes a lot of one-on-ones, a lot of phone calls, and then it's also getting out there on the beat. You got to go knock on doors and have those conversations.
Oh, yeah, y'all stay knocking on my door. I'm like, dude, I was just in a meeting with y'all. Yes, I know what's going on here. Yes. I appreciate the work of the Power Coalition because, as I stated, you guys' ballot is what we used here at WBOK to talk about those amendments and breaking them down. I used it every single day leading up to the election, talking about what a yes vote means and what a no vote means. I do understand the work of Step Up because, as I said, I've been in plenty of Step Up meetings, and y'all come to my door with your little clipboard and a little sign up. I said, I've signed up already. Yes, I'm aware. I also want to know, because it's a coalition, are there any other organizations who are not in this room right now who are participating, and we want to just shout them out briefly? Do you know them off the top of your head, some of them?
Yes.
She does. She knows them.
Ms. Jefferson is on it.
Yes, we have IWO, we have NAACP, we have ATU Black Caucus, we have the Women Caucus with Power Coalition, we have Step Up Louisiana, we have City Councilman Thomas, we have Representative Matthew Willard. I want to see. I know I'm missing somebody.
It's okay. Forgive our head and not our heart. New Orleans.
New Orleans
matters.
Oh my God.
Yes.
We matter.
Yes.
So I think that it's also important to say that, because sometimes we don't give the credit where credit is due.
Correct.
In terms of the work that regular folk are doing to make a difference in terms of these organizations, right? There are a lot of regular everyday folk who offer themselves up for service in terms of their time, whether they're signing folk up at a desk, whether they're helping some man a line. But what are some of the fun things that are happening in terms of to get the kids out to the Martin Luther King festivities? Because we know the children may not understand all of the higher order thinking things in terms of voting and amendments and all of that. But how do we engage the kids to come out to celebrate who Martin Luther King was and also to educate them on who this pioneer was in terms of civil rights?
Okay, the Black Voters Matters, who we are, the Women Caucus, are partnered with, along with my other colleagues in this great thing that we are doing. We're going to try to make it out a family affair. Okay, for example, in our meetings, we say we're going to go to different areas. And one of the first area, the second area we was talking about was the East. For the East voters, and we're going to try to make it a family affair. We're going to have like fun tents, fun games for the kids. We're going to have food out there because we're going to be at Brittany Restaurant Place because she one of our sponsors. She let us come there, meet at a hall in the back.
And see, that's what I'm saying. Those are the unsung heroes, right? Because we do know in the civil rights movement, you had leaders, but you also had people feeding them and making sure that they can have somewhere safe to lay their head when they were doing this work. So it's places like that we want to spotlight who are not sitting in studio with us, but it's good to say her name again. What is her name? Brittany?
Oh, yeah, Brittany Restaurant Place, or Brittany Place Restaurant.
Brittany Place Restaurant. Shout out to Brittany
for
opening up her place to you guys. But also the reason I asked about the children, because a lot of the times parents want to come to these sorts of events, but then there's nothing for the kids. And it's like,
That's right.
I want to come to a meeting, but then what about my child? I think there should always be some sort of child care, some sort of activity for kids so that parents don't have the not excuse, but the reason to not show up because they don't have any potty to wash their kid or anything for the kid to do. Because there's a lot of meetings that go on during the times of the day when a parent is trying to be home and be a parent.
That's right.
But if I can bring my child to the parent where they're not, my child to the meeting where they're not disturbing the meeting and they have something to do, then that may further engage me to take part in it. So that's why I asked, what are we doing for the children?
No, I definitely think that that's important. And I'm saying it's just because, and the fact that you brought that up so far, it's like kids. With every engagement we try to make it a family affair just because a lot of people, like you talked about, people have to work or sometimes and they have to go get their kids after work. You know, someone doesn't have, child care after hours or, during the time that we're like, meeting. But at the same time, like on a Saturday, we met on a Saturday. I know I would have been able to bring my son. You know what I'm saying? As well as, when we're hosting like listening sessions and things like that, engaging with the community, we always have, kids, and let them do them.
Shout out to the Power Coalition.
We let them do them.
Shout out to Step Up Louisiana. Shout out to the Women of Action, the caucus. Listen, our conversation is so good, I didn't even know all the people was trying to talk to y'all. So let's go to line one. Reverend Calhoun, welcome to the Good Morning Show.
Good morning.
Good morning.
To all. One of the organizations I did not hear mentioned was the Lower Ninth Ward Voters Coalition.
That's why we asked, Rev. We don't want to leave y'all. Say that coalition name again.
The Lower Ninth Ward Voters Coalition.
The Lower Ninth Ward Voters Coalition. They're also a part of the Martin Luther King Day celebrations. So thank you for calling to tell us that. Go ahead, Rev.
Yeah, I want to quickly let people know that on on the 19th, at 3 o'clock, the Ninth Ward Ministers Alliance will have their Martin Luther King program at 840 Fats Domino Avenue. But I also want to understand that we had a Martin Luther King parade down here started in the Lower Ninth Ward on last week. And it was amazing that we had 23 school bands in that parade.
Wow.
With no media coverage.
Wow.
It seems like we taking what Martin Luther King has done away from communities. So I do commend everybody for trying to make sure that our children are informed of the sacrifices that was made to have a Martin Luther King parade or day of recognition. Because I do know that they are trying to push away from honoring this man. So with that, you go ahead on and again.
Thank you, Rev.
Make sure our children is aware of what the march is really all about. People forget about the Bloody Sunday.
Yeah.
So
thank you so much, Reverend Calhoun.
All right.
Appreciate you. Line 2, Ms. Jones, welcome to the Good Morning Show.
Yes, good morning to you all, and we appreciate you, ladies, what you're doing. Please leave a number so that we could contact in some kind of way. And on Dr. King's observation, it would be a good idea if everybody would bring some kind of application for voters registration. Just give out to people, and so that they'd know that they could register to vote at any time.
Thank you so much, Ms. Jones. And look, I'll make sure that they say their contact information on air so that you can have it at your disposal.
Right, because I would like to, really participate in, throughout the year with them. Another thing I want to say about voting, please remember that handicapped people are allowed to have somebody with them in voting, and that the ballots could be mailed to the houses if they're not able to get out for some reason or another, or age, or to have it permanently done, said they wouldn't have to get out on voting day.
Thank you so much, Ms. Jones. We appreciate you here at WBOK.
Have
a blessed one.
You too.
Aaron, line 3, welcome to the Good Morning Show.
Good morning. How y'all doing?
We're good.
Good morning.
First, shout out to the Fatherhood Roundtable as well as the People's Political Party. We have all these all these black organizations right there that want to come out for Dr. Martin Luther King holiday when the state or the government celebrates the day. And it's like it be a whole lot of photo opping and stuff like that. Like after the Martin Luther King Day, everybody go back to their silos and they working back with the elected people or wherever their money resides or whatever. When you look around our city and see how all these schools are closing and things like that, especially what happened with the Arthur Ashe, where were some of these all these black organizations that's supposed to be doing the bidding for the people? Too many times we come out for photo ops, and that's all it be to make it seems like we doing the work for the people, but yet we going against the people. A lot of those people and a lot of those organizations which y'all just names is gatekeepers, and they make sure they do the bidding of the same people that we fighting against. So again, we got so many of our people that come into our communities that make it seems like they on our side, but yet they doing the bidding for the same people that we fighting against, and we wonder why in 2025 the people is not voting, because we constantly hearing what y'all saying, but we not seeing what y'all saying. And then on the other side, we see where y'all getting y'all money from, especially when we see the candidates that y'all putting in front of people. Not to mention the secret meetings that y'all having with certain hand-picked candidates to make sure that y'all keep y'all money flowing. So again, we got to be careful and leery on the type of people that we present before the people.
We appreciate you. I appreciate you, Gray House. Thank you for calling. Have a blessed Friday. Listen, we have to go to break. Everybody has to go, but I want you to tell us, or maybe Mr. Greg can tell us, the day of the event, the time of the event, the location, and how can people contact you? Are y'all going to actually stay with us? Well, it's 3 of y'all. We got time. But anyway, for Ms. Jones's sake, though, we want to make sure we give that information on the other side of how to contact your organization, the Power Coalition, and Step Up. And to Aaron's point, we'll talk about that on the other side of the break, because I definitely want to give some feedback there. But stay with us. This is WBOK 1230 AM, what New Orleans is talking about all day long.
This is your news update for WBOK 1230 AM from WDSU. For all your news and weather, watch WDSU News, New Orleans' leader in live, local, late-breaking news. Today at noon and 4 p.m.
Expect a clear, cool start, but then clouds eventually increase as we get into the afternoon. We'll be on the warmer side today. Highs will be into the mid-60s for us, but we are looking at chances for rain as we get to tonight. Overnight showers into your early Saturday morning, leaving by the afternoon. Highs for Saturday make it into the 70s, but a cold front moves in. We're talking about 40s for your highs for Sunday. From the WDSU First Warning Weather Center, I'm Raven Richard.
As a mom, comforting my family is what I do best. Vicks Vapor Stick provides soothing, non-medicated Vicks vapors in an easy-to-apply stick. And it dries fast, so there's no mess. I use it to comfort myself and my family.
Thanks, Mom.
Vicks VapoStick, soothing comfort for the whole family. And when you need more comfort for yourself, try Vicks Vapo Shower Max for steamy Vicks vapors.
Use as directed. VapoStick for use ages 4 and up. Vapo Shower Max use for adults only.
Are you passionate about community safety and police accountability? Tune in to The Monitor's Mic, where we talk about oversight, policing, and you. Hosted by the Office of Independent Police Monitor. We're here to shine a light on policing issues that matter, from real-time policing updates to in-depth interviews. Get the facts and stay informed. We're breaking down complex issues, highlighting community voices, and holding people behind the badge accountable. Join us for an informative hour every Friday at noon on WBOK. Your city, your police, your show. The Monitor's Mic.
Visit DePaul's new Algiers Health Center at 2801 General de Gaulle Drive to receive primary and preventive care for both adults and children. Services also include behavioral health, imaging, and on-site pharmacy, vision, Medicaid enrollment assistance, and more. For appointments, visit DePaulCommunityHealthCenters.org or call 504-2 207-3060. Do you know what United Way can do for you and your community? Find out by listening to United Way and You every Thursday at noon on WBOK 1230. United Way continues to fight for the most vulnerable members of the community. Find out how this Thursday and every Thursday at noon.
Good morning, Wake Up.
The Good Morning Show.
Good morning.
On WBOK 1230 AM.
We are back. Welcome back to the Good Morning Show. I'm your host, Dr. Ashanta Wyatt. My super producer, Naira Sanders, is behind the glass, and so is our GM, Justin Lewis. But in studio right now with us, we have Miss Valerie Jefferson, President of the Women's Caucus, NOLA, Miss Monique Hookfin from the Power Coalition, and Gregory Wilson from Step Up Louisiana. Miss Jefferson said, Dr. Wyatt, it's Jefferson, not Johnson. So let me make sure that I correct that on the record. It is Miss Valerie Jefferson. But the last few minutes, we want to address Ms. Jones's point. She wants to know, how can the listeners get in touch with you, both your organization? We'll give some contact information for the Power Coalition, and we'll also give some contact information for Step Up Louisiana. But the most important question is, where is the celebration taking place and what time?
Okay, the celebration of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. will be celebrating. The march will start at LaSalle in Washington, like it was last year by New Zion Church, LaSalle in Washington, and we will end at Claiborne and Martin Luther King by his statue.
So what time should they be at the start?
Okay, the lineup start at 8:45. Okay. The march start at 10 o'clock. But please follow the time. Central Time, not African American Black Time. Okay.
Well, listen, we have to make an entrance. Okay, we have to put, you talking about swag. We have to put on our best outfit so we can celebrate this pioneer. So don't be mad at us if we late, but we clean. Now,
we're gonna be clean.
It don't look like you put enough effort into your outfit, then we might have a problem.
We're gonna be clean.
Yeah, we gotta be clean. But okay, so how can Ms. Jones follow the work that you're doing? Like, is there a number or is there an email address, a website, anything for the Women's Caucus NOLA?
Yes, now the Women of Action, we do have a website. Our website is the Women of Action, Women Caucus, ATUNOLA.com.
Is there a phone number?
Yes, you can call 504-261-9692. Please text.
Please, that's what I tell people. I don't leave no voicemail. I don't check those things. Text me. Yeah. Miss Monique Hookfin, is there any contact information for the Power Coalition?
Yes, absolutely. You can check out our website at powercoalition.org or pcej.org, as well as you can come to our office. I'm always there, 4930 Washington Avenue, Suite E.
Suite E. And what about the Power Coalition? Any contact information, Mr. Wilson?
Step Up Louisiana.
Step Up Louisiana. I'm sorry.
That's fine. I'm Greg at Step Up Louisiana. Every Wednesday, the last Wednesday of the month, we have a chapter meeting. So we invite everyone to come, and the address is 2022 South Dupree, Broadmoor Baptist Church.
So that's where your meetings are held as well?
Absolutely, correct.
And what time are the meetings?
The meeting starts at 5:30.
5:30 every
Wednesday, the last Wednesday of the month.
The last Wednesday of the month at the church, right?
Correct.
If you want to be a part of this Step Up Louisiana's meetings. But listen, I thank each of you for joining us. I'm hoping that the numbers are overflowing on March 20th for Martin Luther King. I'm hoping everybody that somebody shows up, children alike, because there'll be some fun stuff going on for the kids. So do not miss the event because you need child care. Like, bring the babies. There's something to do for the children as well. Well, thank you for being here.
Okay. But the fun stuff gonna start in February for the kids.
That's fine.
Okay.
They
need to be at that march.
At the march is fun too. Do you guys have any bands or any schools participating in the march?
We just participating. We're not the leader of the march.
But so do you know of any bands or any schools that are participating, Miss Monique? Do you know?
I do not.
Listen, every Martin Luther King
I'm pretty
march
sure
that
that-
I've ever been to has some school or little dance group or
Yeah.
something for those kids to do. I'm certain there's something out there. Every Martin Luther King event I've been to has some sort of celebration that involves the schools or the dancing organizations from around the community. So I'm certain we'll have that. Well, thank you, Ms. Jefferson.
That's right.
Thank you, Ms. Yasmini Cookfin, and thank you, Gregory Wilson,
No,
for
thank
joining
you.
us this
Thank
morning
you.
on the Good Morning Show. Listen, we have to go to break to pay a couple of bills at this little black radio station, but we want to shout out the Power Coalition. We want to shout out Step Up Louisiana, and we want to shout out the Women of Action for making certain that we can celebrate our pioneer, Dr. Martin Luther King, on January 20th, because that's the only thing happening on January 20th as far as I'm concerned. But stay with us on the other side of the break. This is WBOK 1230 AM, what New Orleans is talking about all day long.
WBOK 1230 AM New Orleans. Home of the Good Morning Show, 7 to 9 a.m. weekdays.
This news report is brought to you by New Schools for New Orleans.
I'm Bree Wood with 4 things you should know with BIN News. Donald Trump is nominating Troy Mink for Air Force Secretary. Mink, a director at the National Reconnaissance Office, will work closely with Defense Secretary nominee Pete Hegseth. If confirmed, Mink will oversee critical Air Force programs. President-elect Trump's cabinet picks faced Senate confirmation hearings Thursday. Pam Bondi, Doug Burgum, Lee Zeldin, and Scott Bessent testified. A polar vortex will bring below zero temperatures to much of the U.S. this month. Starting this weekend, temperatures could drop 35 degrees below average with freezing conditions expected from Maine to Idaho and the southeast. And music stars like Jelly Roll, Earth, Wind & Fire, and the Red Hot Chili Peppers will perform at the Fire Aid Benefit Concert on January 30th to raise money for the LA wildfire victims. The concert will be streamed live by iHeartRadio. I'm Bree Wood on the Black Information Network, your home for Black News First.
New Schools for New Orleans wants to send a special shout out to our partner, the All-State Sugar Bowl. During the holiday break, over 30 teachers had the opportunity to ride in the New Year's Eve parade, and boy, did they have a blast. In addition, we had over 60 teachers attend the All-State Sugar Bowl game. Out of the 60, 11 teachers received a $1,000 gift card to purchase needed supplies to enhance the learning experiences for their students. Thank you, All-State Sugar Bowl, for your commitment to NOLA's teachers.
Good morning, Wake Up.
The Good Morning Show. Good morning. On WBOK 1230 AM.
Welcome back, everybody. Welcome back. Happy Friday. I am your host, Dr. Ashanta Wise. Super producer Nyron Sanders is behind the glass, holding us all together. I want to once again thank our previous guests, Ms. Valerie Jefferson from the Women of Action, Ms. Monique Hookfin from the Power Coalition, and Mr. Gregory Wilson from Step Up Louisiana, talking about the Martin Luther King Day celebration. But right now, we're on the line with us is Raymond Duplessis, Dean of the School of Science, Technology, Engineering, and Math. Dr. Amanda, I don't want to butcher your name, Dr. Amanda, so I'm going to let you tell me when we get you on the line. Assistant Dean of School of Science, Technology, Engineering, and Math from Delgado. I love our partners over at Delgado. Happy Friday. Welcome back to the Good Morning Show.
Good morning. Good morning.
Morning.
How you doing? Dr. Amanda, say your last name for me.
It's Rosenzweig, but I answer to anything that starts with an R.
Listen, I'm going to call you Dr. A right now because we will not butcher your name on WBOK, not the Assistant Dean of School of Science, Technology, Engineering, and Math. I will not do it. Welcome back to the Good Morning Show, y'all.
Hey.
So listen, I always have a wonderful conversation with our partners from Delgado because I'm always so blown away by all of the wonderful things Delgado offers. I promise I learn something new every single time we're in conversation with someone from Delgado. So I'm excited to talk about y'all upcoming enrollment updates and Delgado's extensive STEM offerings. So Raymond Duplessis, you want to lead us off with that?
So right now we are doing our big push for the rest of the registration, which runs through next Friday. So please come in, get back on track, get on track, and get ready for your new career. We will be here Monday through Friday. Sorry, not Monday. We're off for the holidays. But Tuesday through Friday, weather permitting, and we have classes for any and everybody that wants to take anything in science, technology, engineering, and math. We have programs galore, and we are opening seats every day. And if you don't see it, you can call us, and we will make it happen. So please join us. We have a very robust registration this semester, so make sure you get in as soon as you can so you can get the best times and teachers.
And Dr. Amanda, this is a question that I'm always asked. Every time we have a segment with Delgado, someone calls in to ask us like follow-up questions. Do you have to have a high school diploma to be able to enroll to take part in any of the offerings at Delgado, or can you have a program that helps you get your high school diploma while you're also receiving some sort of certification or training from Delgado?
Both. So if you have your high school diploma, that's one pathway. If you do not, we have placement tests, but we also have programs that allow adults without their high school diploma into the academic side.
Yep, and we also have, for students that are over 16, you can walk in and start your front-end classes, your mathematics and English classes, if you don't have any of those high school credentials. But if you want to get them, you can also, in parallel, work with our adult education program and earn that GED while you're taking classes and programs. For example, if we look at our cybersecurity classes, you can take some of those classes without having any prerequisites as long as you have a willing desire to learn.
I think that is amazing. And the last time we had a partner from Delgado on the line, I told her on air, I said, there's a parent that just reached out to me, and I'm going to send her your way because her son is in that little bubble situation where he could benefit from what you're offering. And as soon as I got off the air, she was so shocked. I called the mom, and the mom called her literally within 15 minutes of us being off the air. So I'm always sending folk over to Delgado because, again, I learn every single time you guys are here about a new program and offer that you have over there. It blows my mind. I literally just found out you guys also have all of the different sporting teams. I knew you had basketball because my goddaughter played basketball for Delgado. I didn't know that they had all of the other sports as well. I learned something new every single time. But what I did not hear you mention, Mr. Duplessis, which I think is important, is you guys have extended registration hours. Like there's late registration hours that go all the way until like 7 p.m. on certain days.
Yeah, next week, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, we're here from 9 a.m. to 7 p.m. So if you're getting off work, you can come on down and get into classes. And the one thing I do want to bring up with that is that we have people that have to earn while they learn. And most of the times, colleges tend to focus on younger individuals, but we have learners that are up to the age of 80 at Delgado. So if you're trying to retrain, you don't have to take 12 hours. Come over here and get 6 hours a semester. If you're working in an area where data science, AI, cybersecurity are parts of those jobs or those careers, or you want to train up to get into those positions, come take a few hours with us while you're still at work.
And Dr. Amanda, are the hours, like, let's say I do my hours at Delgado and then I aspire to go elsewhere to get some continuing learning hours. Are those hours transferable in most cases?
Yes. Yes, we have a 2+2 with all state schools, so that makes the transferring seamlessly. And then most of our courses, not all of them, but most of them do transfer throughout the United States. So our students are really successful at moving forward to a bachelor's, master's, or whatever their desires are. And also with all of our academic opportunities, our students are often getting full rides or large scholarships when they transfer to the universities.
Listen, I'm always so blown away. Mr. Duplessis, can you talk to us about Delgado's extensive STEM offerings? Because when I heard you say cybersecurity, I say cybersecurity. Can you talk to us about your extensive STEM offerings that also include cybersecurity?
So we have a little bit of everything. But in the computer area, we have cybersecurity. We can get you programming. We can get you any gaming, web design. We have all of those programs, and it also tie you to credentials. So we have some programs in the city and the state that you spend a good bit of money just to get a credential. Here, we try to push credentials and college credit. So when you take a course here, you can get your Security Plus or Cybersecurity, your ITF Plus, and all these other credentials, industry-based credentials, while you're taking courses. We also have an electrical engineering technology program, electrical service technology program, and that program supplies most of the people in this region that work on hospital equipment. The key component of that program is biomedical equipment repair. Your Oshners, your LCMCs, they need those students because there are not a lot of students in that area, but they make a lot of money. Let's talk about transfer. Chemistry, biology, physics, mathematics, computer science. We send students everywhere from those basic starting points here in the first 2 years. People have to realize that Delgado gives you 2 years that you can take anywhere for a much cheaper price. And you get quality and you get caring here.
Absolutely. Can you tell us about those registration dates? When does registration begin and how far does it run?
Registration is going on now. You can come down here today. And if you come down here today, I will greet you. But we are here all the way until next Friday, January 24th. And then after that wraps up, we have another term that we will start registration for, which is our 12-week term. And they can come on down then. If it's better for their time or if they need a shorter semester, we have that too.
I can tell you one thing as an educator, everybody that I speak to from Delgado, there's a culture over there where folk love working. They love what they do, and it shows in the way that you present when you come here to talk about all of your course offerings and talk about why choose Delgado. That's what I hear when I hear any representative from Delgado talking. It's always you're so enthusiastic about welcoming people, registering people, making certain that they can get what they need. So that to me, that energy it's infectious, and it's so good when you have folk who are. Oftentimes, a lot of our kids are deterred from going to school because it's not a place where they feel welcome, they feel seen, they feel valued. So even if you made some mistakes and you don't have your high school diploma, Delgado is still saying there's a place here for you. We can help you, and I absolutely love that. What I also want, maybe Dr. Amanda can tell us about, either one of you. There's a STEM SEAS program in geology. That is like a 6 to 10 day expedition where you learn oceanography at sea. Is that happening at Delgado as well?
So the STEM Seas program, and we have a member, I would love to have had her here today, Karen Minch, but she actually was on a boat with a lot of other scientific researchers that traveled from Hawaii to Alaska, and then they ended up in San Francisco. And all of these people were just doing different types of research. It was a great opportunity for her and for a student to see what type of scientific research happens on those vessels. Normally they see stuff like that on TV. It's a couple of days in and out, but in this case, they really saw how they lived. It was interesting, her discussion about the cafeteria on the boat, because I hate boats personally, but on the boat, the cafeteria, it was like I don't know if y'all remember the old Piccadilly cafeteria where you
I
just
do.
go in and get what you want to eat.
Yes.
That was shocking to me, but it's a very novel experience. And we have others. We have the NASA program, which we have ballooning, and students learn how to build payloads that collect data in the upper atmosphere, and they send them up on these huge weather balloons. Delgado has placed students, primarily in this case women and minority students, in programs that actually put them at a NASA facility in Texas. This is something high security clearance required, and they actually go to these places and experience something that very few people actually get to experience, and they perform as scientists. So we have these novel experiences at Delgado, and I wish we could get more people to join in. And it doesn't matter what you want to do. We have high school robotics teams here now that we just moved into a new facility. So even if you're not a Delgado student yet, we have something here for you to do. And I would love for everybody in this region, especially our women and minorities, to come and take advantage of those opportunities.
Absolutely. And Dr. Mantha, can you speak to the student-faculty ratio in the STEM classes over at Delgado?
Yes, what's wonderful is our larger general education classes are going to have about an 18-to-1 student-to-teacher ratio. So that allows the teacher to get to know the students. So they're actually a person in the class. They have a name. They're not a number. And they get that hands-on engagement, and their experience and their perception of their experience increases because it's personalized to them. It's tailored to meet their needs. And then in our specialized classes, we sometimes have 2 to 5 students in them because they are the capstone classes of different degree plans. And it's so specialized that there's only a few students that have made it to that point. And so the teachers really work on individualized research projects with our students. A lot of times these projects are sponsored by the USDA or other industries within the region.
Yeah, to tie on to what she says, those programs, biotechnology, which is very important right now. We have a center downtown that's dedicated to biotechnology. We are one of the institutions that provide those students that become the workers in those areas. And then chemical technology, we have partnerships with Dow. And again, those are small classes, so they get really good hands-on training on state-of-the-art technology and equipment that very few, if any, community colleges in this region have. So it is a wonderful experience for somebody who wants to get hands-on training in a small environment where the teacher and the student can work one-on-one on something that's really in-depth, and then walk out with a potential earning $80,000 to $90,000 a year on average if they finish the programming.
And
We're
talking
very
about a
fortunate.
smaller environment, it's also an affordable environment as well, because that's the key thing. You can go and get all of these wonderful, robust opportunities, and then it's cost efficient as well.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sorry, Dr. Amanda, what were you saying? I didn't mean to interject.
I was just going to say we're very fortunate that we have applied for and have been funded many grants that support our students' experiences. Right now, between the NASA grants, we have a Board of Regents grant, and we have a National Science Foundation grant. And that's just affording our students different opportunities to work on new curriculums that are cutting edge within the industries. So our students are getting cutting edge curriculum training. So when they go out there, they are more valuable to employees.
Mm-hmm.
And they're doing this going to the tuition cost. We're about a third of the cost of the public universities around here. And then we have so many scholarship opportunities that almost any student can come at a fraction of the cost.
And don't forget, we have TOPS. Students can use their TOPS here at Delgado. We're a state institution.
And listen,
go ahead. Yeah, and I can't really stress enough that Delgado should be the first place someone considers for college, especially if you're waiting for a spot in LSU or Tulane, and you can't afford it. Let's be honest, college is expensive, but not Delgado.
And that's the thing that Mr. Duplessis that I wanted to talk about when I was talking about the sports that you guys offer. There's just been a ruling now where when you go to like a JUCO or a community college that you don't lose those years of eligibility, which I think it's extremely important for student athletes. So instead of going to, like, if you leave a JUCO and you spend 2 years there, and then you go to a 4-year institution, you still have all 4 years of your athletic eligibility now, as opposed to 2 years, which is another reason why you should start off at like a Delgado or something. If you haven't gotten really the offer you wanted, or you don't have the financial means that you want, you can start there and then branch off. Because I also read that many of your students from Delgado transfer into Xavier's pharmacy program, which I think is extremely dope.
That is correct, and they start from a couple of places. Some of our chemical technology students decide that they want to stay in the academic area and go into pharmacy school, or they want to go to med school or allied health programs at Delgado, at LSU. And then some of them just want to go to work. But to go back to your point about the ruling, we have Coach Clifford Bartley and Coach Fields. They got to get out there and go grab those students, because we need some good basketball players. So if your son is out there right now looking for somewhere to play basketball, come on down.
And it works. It works, Raymond, because think about it. If I'm trying to hone my skills, because that's the reason most student athletes go to the JUCO level or the community college level, because they're trying to improve their skill set so that they can be attractive to the 4-year universities, right? Because some of them may not have the solid footing academically, so they go to the smaller universities to pull those averages up. But if you don't even lose eligibility, why not Delgado, right? If you want to hone those skills, if you want to boost that GPA, if you want to just get stronger because of the facilities are better than they were in your high school, I think that's a wonderful ruling that does nothing but help the student athlete. It's a wonderful rule, and it helps JUCOs and community college also get the talent, because now kids are not forced to think about, oh, I'm losing 2 years if I go here. And, I can still go here, get better, and still have my 4 years. I think it's amazing. I think it does more to help, institutions such as yours, but also to help students who just need that little extra time to get themselves stronger, faster, better in the classroom to go over to those 4-year institutions. So I think that is a wonderful way for the athletic programming at Delgado to attract the athletes, because now they don't lose that eligibility anymore.
Yeah, and in addition to support not just athletes, but all students, especially our working students and ones with families and other responsibilities, we offer classes in multiple modalities. So we have classes from 8 a.m. to 10 p.m., Monday through Thursday, 8 to about 5 on Fridays, and we offer Saturday classes. And then we also offer virtual classes, high flex, hybrid classes, as well as online classes. So students can choose what modality may fit them best, as well as timing.
That is so good to know. Listen, we have to take a break. But on the other side of the break, we'll continue to have conversations with our partners from Delgado, Mr. Raymond Duplessis, Dean of School of Science, Technology, Engineering, and Math, and Dr. Amanda, not going to butcher her last name, the Assistant Dean of School of Science, Technology, Engineering, and Math. But when we come back, guys, I just want you to close us out. Tell us when those registration dates are, when the kids can come and sign up, where the young adults can come and sign up, and anything else you want to leave us so that people can know what Delgado offers. We'll have that and a whole lot more on the other side of the break. This is WBOK 1230 AM, what New Orleans is talking about.
Trying to grow your business or increase traffic to your location? We can help. WBOK 1230 AM has a number of solutions that will meet your individual needs. Give one of our consultants a call today at 504-582-9420 or email us at info@wbok1230.com. And remember, an investment with WBOK is an investment in our community. Call today.
Expect a clear, cool start, but then clouds eventually increase as we get into the afternoon. We'll be on the warmer side today. Highs will be into the mid-60s for us, but we are looking at chances for rain as we get to tonight. Overnight showers into your early Saturday morning, leaving by the afternoon. Highs for Saturday make it into the 70s, but a cold front moves in. We're talking about 40s for your highs for Sunday. For the WDSU First Warning Weather Center, I'm Raven Richard.
NOLA Public Schools main round enrollment for kindergarten through 12th grade is now open. With 73 schools available through the NOLA Public Schools Common Application Process, or NCAP, finding the right school fit for your family is easier than ever. List up to 12 choices to maximize your chances and apply by January 24th. We're all in, and we hope you are too. Apply today at enrollnolaps.com. That's enrollnolaps.com.
Well, look who it is.
We all love a surprise, but not if it's flu or COVID. If you're 65 or older, vaccines are your best defense against severe flu and COVID this fall and winter. Getting both vaccines helps protect you from severe illness and also cuts your hospitalization risk in half. This season, protect yourself.
Surprise!
So the surprises you get are the good ones. Risk less, do more. Get started at vaccines.gov, paid for by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
Making a difference in the community. WBOK 1230 AM.
Good morning, Wake Up.
The Good Morning Show.
Good morning.
On WBOK 1230 AM.
And we are back. Welcome back to the Good Morning Show. I am your host, Dr. Ashanta White. Happy Friday, everybody. We're currently on the line with Mr. Raymond Duplessis, Dean of the School of Science, Technology, Engineering, and Math, and Dr. Amanda, the Assistant Dean of the School of Science, Technology, Engineering, and Math. And they were here telling us a plethora of offerings for Delgado, including registration is going on right now. Mr. Raymond, tell us again about those registration dates. How can people sign up? Do they come to the school? Can they do it on the website? What time those registration dates start and end? The floor is yours, Mr. Duplessis.
You can register right now, and you can register online. Registration is going on in person, so if there's some things you want to sort out at the campus, we are here today until 4:30, and you can register online and complete all of those processes online as well. In person, we'll be back next week, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday from 9 a.m. to 7 p.m., and next Friday from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m., where we will wrap up the first part of registration. And then guess what? You can come on and register after that. We'll be sending new dates out to register for our 12-week session if you want to start at a later time period. So we have registration ongoing, and it will be available and open. If you can't come in, do it online at www.dcc.edu and find the Apply Now and Register Now buttons on the website. And we will be ready and waiting for you, and we will meet with you wherever you are.
Listen, Dr. Amanda, as the Assistant Dean of the School of Science, Technology, Engineering, and Math, why Delgado?
So honestly, I didn't know that community colleges existed when I went to college, and I really wish I did, because the impact we have within the community, what we do to support our students and change their lives, it's just so amazing to see the outcomes that our students get to experience. And being a part of this community, because I'm not from New Orleans, has just really made me appreciate what we can do as a school and what we offer. The opportunities our students have in many disciplines, I'm partial to the STEM discipline, is outstanding. And our students also, something that we didn't mention earlier, is that our students also participate with us in a lot of community outreach. We do about 2 to 4 STEM outreaches a month, whether they're at local K through 12s or if they're at big fests such as the Saints and Pelicans Fest coming up. We also sponsor a huge STEAM Fest where our students participate and they perform activities and do engaging activities for K through 12 students that come throughout the community for the day. So we have a lot of opportunities for our students, and that's where I like to get involved, is seeing that aha moment and smile of the impact they have on each other.
Yep, and Delgado, it is the best option for those students who are wanting to have an economically wise option for going to college, even if they want to go to a 4-year, if they want to get their footing, or if you're finding your way. And that's one thing that most people tend to forget. Sometimes we have students that go off to college and they spend a lot of money, but they haven't really found themselves or found their way. So Delgado is a place for that. And they will not miss a beat. They will be able to transfer and go to 4 years, save a lot of money, and really find their place in their lives and in the world.
And something that we do offer at the school is wraparound services as well as support and tutoring. So within the STEM school, We have tutoring services for all disciplines, and the hours are pretty awesome, and we have virtual options. And then we do have wraparound services for other needs that students may have insecurities with.
Well, listen, I can tell you right now, it's always a pleasure to talk to our partners from Delgado. And I want to thank you, Mr. Raymond Duplessis. I want to thank you, Dr. Amanda, for spending part of your morning here with us at WBOK to enlighten us on all of the wonderful offerings of Delgado. But I want to also reiterate that Delgado spring semester officially begins tomorrow, January 18th. They're also offering late registration starting Saturday through Friday to January 24th. So don't delay. Register as soon as possible so you don't fall behind in classes. And they're also offering extended hours most days next week for late registration, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday until 7 p.m. There is no reason to miss out, you guys. If you want a place where you can not only learn and grow at an affordable rate, but you're also having caring, loving, welcoming people, give Delgado an opportunity to service you. Thank you, Mr. Duplessis. Thank you, Dr. Amanda, for being here this morning on WBOK. We appreciate you.
Oh, thank you. It was a pleasure and a blessing, and thank you so much for giving me a new name to call Dr. Rosenzweig. I will be calling her Dr. Amanda from now on.
I just didn't want to butcher her name. I just didn't want to do it. And listen, I have a professor here at Xavier. Her name is Dr. Akbar, and we call her Dr. A. So I just wanted to just make certain that I was respectful. So shout out to you, Dr. A. Shout out to you, Mr. Duplessis. Y'all have a wonderful morning.
All right, you too. Be blessed.
You too. Listen, it's always great to talk to our guests from our guests, our partners from Delgado. It's always a wonderful, wonderful time to learn about all of the things that they have going on over at Delgado. But again, classes start tomorrow, January 18th, but you can still register all the way through Friday, January 24th. And they're also offering extended hours up until 7 p.m. So you have no reason to not give Delgado an opportunity. So shout out to our partners from Delgado. But listen, no conversation will be complete. No show will be complete without talking to the man himself, Mr. Sessful 5. How you doing, Sess? Hey, Morgan, how you doing? Listen, he's blessed and highly favored, and he's always looking real good. We were talking about swag earlier. I don't think that they ought to have a swag award for you because you keep it tight and right on the outfits, huh?
I better be swagged up, keeping it right and tight. I got my own brand, the Hustle Guard merch, you know what I'm saying? So, yeah, I got my own clothing line. We've been pumping for about 6 years, and I'm actually about to open up a store later this year on Claiborne 1834 North Claiborne. That's a surprise. This is a WBOK exclusive. You know what I'm saying? Hit the button.
We getting the exclusive?
Yes, y'all getting the exclusive. That's happening later this year. And I got some other ventures later this year as well.
Well, listen, I want to take this time because like I tell you every single time that I see you, I'm not certain who's giving you your flowers, but when you come to WBOK, I want you to always know that we appreciate everything you do on behalf of this community and its children. It is very refreshing to see folk who look like our children standing in the gap for them. And I want to say thank you for all you do for this city, for our babies. And so if you don't have any reason to support Hustle God, support him because he's always supporting us. So thank you for who you are. Hey, Morgan.
Hey,
how you doing? Welcome to the Good Morning Show. It's good to chat with you on the microphone. We always have good conversations
we do.
in the parking lot. You know, you and Noonie Man parking lot.
We're always
pimping.
standing up for something.
We always in the parking lot.
And that's what we're doing because, we've been standing up for Dr. King for many years. I mean, that was part of my growing up experience as daughter of civil rights leaders and the civil rights leaders of New Orleans, being in that house, Rudy Lombard, Lola Seeley, these are people I came up around. So I'm grounded in that fight, that struggle, and we need that more than ever now. And so we started, actually Oliver O.T. came, the first big event we did during COVID, and I have to shout out to Tammy and El Ray Holmes, Ray, because as a response to violence in 2021, right around Dr. King's holiday, we came out strong with a healing effort to circle a community, to bring faith, culture, and community together. And we gave away hundreds of meals, and we repeated that in all 3 years of COVID. Last year, I reached out to Sess and said, let's put it on the street because we need Dr. King's message of unity, peace, and nonviolence more than ever. And as we move to 2025, we need to be prepared to stand on freedom.
Listen, if you're just joining us, we're in conversation with CES 45 and Ms. Morgan Clevenger. We're talking about the MLK Freedom March, the Unity for Safer Communities, and 200 male leaders of New Orleans. Morgan Clevenger and CES 45 presents January 28, 2025, 12 noon, the Freedom March, honoring Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., where faith, culture, and community collide to do better and be better in the legacy of Dr. Martin Luther King. So you want to tell us more about that? What year are we in for this march?
It's our second annual march.
Annual march, and there's so many partners. Do you want to talk about your community partners who are also associated with the march?
Yes, and that foundation of bringing faith leaders, culture, and community together is super important. I think part of the foundation that we forget in New Orleans is that New Orleans has been standing on freedom since 3 centuries ago. And when we're going to be starting at Congo Square at 12 noon to honor the ancestors, and that is exactly where our standing on freedom comes from. So New Orleans has a long history of being at the forefront of the civil rights movement. And when we talk about, Dookie Chase and SCLC and CORE and Jerome, Big Doug Smith and Dodie Smith-Simmons, these are all people that we need to be honoring. And so this year we're bringing out 6 Ward Steppers as part of this, 9 Times Kids, the Treme Kids and Grasshoppers, because we're coming out of the 6th and the 7th Ward, but we're also honoring Dr. Avery Alexander. We're going up to his statue, and we're going to have a big ceremony up there.
Listen, and in the legacy, in the spirit of Dr. Martin Luther King says, you also have a citywide community youth day that's coming up on Saturday, January 25th. And I know you've been doing that for quite a while. You want to speak briefly to that?
Yeah, so that's next Saturday. We do that every 4th Saturday of the month. And next Saturday on the 25th, we at McHugh Park on Franklin. And, so we've been doing that for about 3 years now. And all year long, the partnership with NARD, we're going to a different NARD park, and we're going to have an awesome 2025 with the youth bringing out the kids. And, of course, that's one of the things and the reasons we've partnered for this MLK March, actually, because it was a big void. People stopped doing the MLK March. Growing up in New Orleans, my parents made sure we went to the Dr. Martin Luther King March every year. And so we want to bring that same energy, that same spirit to this march this Monday.
Look, talking about partnerships, right? Anybody that's just tuning in, if they don't know CES, they know Morgan. If they don't know Morgan, they know CES. But how does Morgan and CES link up to be able to put this event on? That's talking about a partnership that you did not see coming. How did this happen?
Well, CES and I have been working in the community a long time, and when you're in the community,
you know the
people who are doing the work.
Yes,
not just saying they're doing the work, but doing the work.
Let me give them a bell for that.
And I think CES and I, we connect on a lot of levels, but mostly because we are concerned about the same things. And I reached out to CES when I was doing a big voting drive a few years ago. I said, CES, you got to put up these signs. Come on, man. He's like, yeah, let's do it. And so we just gel on that level. It's like we care about the city, we care about the kids, and we care about our future.
Now, this might not be a question that you thought was going to come. Have you ever thought about political office? CES 45?
I thought about turning it down every time people ask me about it.
Listen, I mean, because I'm sure people are asking, right? Because what we've come to understand is that you don't have to have any big credential. You don't have to have anybody. You have to have a love and a passion for community and about wanting to serve community and you're doing the work all the time. So I'm certain you entertain that question or that question is presented to you. I'm not going to say you entertain it, but I'm certain that question is presented to you. But what I do love about what you do is you don't have to have an office to be effective in this community, and you're always partnering with elected officials to make certain that what you want for your community comes through in policy and comes through in the events you're able to put on. So I still think, I don't want you to be in public office because I think we're way more valuable being in this community, in the street. The children respect you. And that's what's important. The community respects you, right?
Yes,
and
ma'am.
when you have community buy-in, when the children can see you and you're not threatened by their presence, That's the difference that you are here to make.
Yeah, so I'm learning just as a citizen, right, how politics work and, the relationships. Because, growing up in this city, we always looked at, elected officials, police, different folks inside city government or just, federal government as like the oppositions. They over there, we over here. And like I said, just learning, you got to utilize the relationships and build a relationship. So like even with, Dr. Martin Luther King March this year, we have a lot of elected officials. And I've done, the Katrina anniversary every year. And we made sure and was intentional about making sure that elected officials had no place inside of the Katrina event because of a march that I attended where it was for the people, but they didn't let the people speak. Only the dignitaries, only the elected officials was able to speak.
But you
and
are
that's
a dignitary. You're a dignitary of this community. That's what I need people to understand. You don't have to have an elected position. You have the respect of the community. That makes you a dignitary. That's why when you speak, you could bring the people out, right?
Nah, definitely.
And talking about just honoring the spirit of Martin Luther King, our earlier conversation was focused on this unhoused issue and housing our unhoused folks in a warehouse, right? And just speaking to the humanity
exactly.
of that.
When Dr. King was, he fought for so many things, and once the struggle resulted in the Civil Rights Act and the Voting Rights Act, he turned to the more systemic, profound issues like economic equity and policy and poverty, and unions and working people, and that focus cost him his life.
Well, because we do know those are the issues that will get you killed. Because you can talk about race, but see, when you start to unify people on the idea of we're all poor, we're all in this same poor boat, that's when you start to become a target. And I brought that issue up because we're in New Orleans, right, as sitting here, but Jefferson Parish has also passed an ordinance this month that makes it illegal to sleep outside on public or private property without permission.
Yeah.
Imagine me having to go to my city council and saying, can I sleep outside because I don't have a home? It's the inhumane nature of it all.
And actually, it's unconstitutional. And so what we're facing now as we go into this next period of time, we have to be extremely aware of these moves that put that humanity issue at the forefront. Because,
Also, me and Morgan was actually talking about this yesterday, and we was talking about, the governor, spending $16 million, of the city's money to do this, right? And we know better ways to utilize that $16 million and, get those folks homes. It's $19 million?
If they keep them over 90 days, the cost keeps going up. Yeah.
But you can house all of those folks for way less than, 16 or 19 million.
Going back to elected officials, I believe Leslie Harris and other leaders in New Orleans made a proposal of $8 million, because they said, let's keep the process that we have going and give us that $8 million so we can house the rest of these folks. They stopped that.
So quick question. We're going to continue to talk about that, but I always like to bring the conversations from the chat on air. And I apologize, guys. I had my phone down because I had to charge it, so I apologize that I did not see your commentary. But Ms. Jacqueline wants to know how many separate MLK marches will there be on Monday? Do you have an idea? Because you guys are doing one. I know there was a coalition earlier on our show. They're offering one. Are we trying to target all of the different parts of the community? Is that what the idea is?
So I'm aware of two. So there's one uptown that I know of that the city is doing, and ours is downtown. And they may have one on the West Bank because I heard about something happening on the West Bank. I'm not exactly sure what it is. But, we support, the march that's uptown, and that one is at 10 o'clock. We encourage folks to go to that one. We'll, go to that one as well. And ours start at 12 so that people have time to experience that one and come to the next one.
And guys, if you were asking me questions about the last segment with our Delgado reps, I can promise you I'm going to ask them those questions, and I'm going to personally respond to your question in the chat as soon as I get the answer. So again, I do apologize for missing the questions that you guys had in the chat. But I think that's a good idea to have different opportunities around the city so that transportation won't be an issue
There's a lot,
for a lot
of
of
space
families
in this city to celebrate Dr. King.
Yeah, but to go back to what we were talking about the unhoused situation, right? Because both of the parishes are dealing with it. Orleans Parish there's a plan that did not include Orleans Parish elected officials that the governor has enacted to house our unhoused population in a warehouse in the Gentilly area. And then Jefferson Parish is coming out with an ordinance saying it is illegal to sleep on public or private property without permission. I understand the private property part because somebody owns it. But you're asking homeless folk, people who are unhoused, who don't have a place to go, to come and ask for permission to sleep outside. And if they don't have the permission, then it's illegal. How are they going to check to see? Are they going to give them a little slip that says, I asked to be out here? Like, how does that work, sis? I'm just asking, like, how does that work?
Well, think about this. You know, there's a lot of discussion nationally about the parallels to Hitler's regime and how he rose so quickly. And a lot of it was by signaling out the other. And that, in the case of Germany, was the Jewish people, was the Polish people. And by attaching a tag, literally, on their clothing, so they would have to be singled out as the other, the enemy from within. And that's why he was successful, because he divided people based on hate.
And we're seeing a lot of that because the Jefferson Parish Council made this vote just hours after the state officials began clearing the homeless encampments in New Orleans. So they were taking their cues from the governor, right? So when he made that decision to do that, now Jefferson Parish is now saying it's illegal to sleep outside. So all I'm asking is, how do you govern such a policy? Like, are you going to go around asking people for their permission slip to be outside? I just think to your point, there are a number of ways that we could have made a dent in our unhoused crisis, as opposed to housing them in a warehouse without anybody's input or anybody's say, and for such an enormous price tag. We have a lot of buildings that are sitting empty all around this city, and that's what I'm saying. You don't have to be an elected official to have a solution to a problem. Look how you said we could have done this so many different ways for less money, but nobody asked you for your input, right? And even when we offer our input at our meetings, most often it just falls on deaf ears because it's a formality to hear from us. It's not necessarily the buy-in that they're looking for.
And that's why unity is so important, because when you have numbers bringing the same message, and you're repeating that message, and you're standing on that message, and you are bringing more people into that message, that's why this march is important. Because every time we come together as a community, that power of unity equals freedom. And we have to keep doing that. We can't just let our people stand one by one in front of the government and say, oh, we need this. No, we got to be together and ask those, demand those things
saying
together.
Goes, they can't kill us all. That's the saying, right? So we have to figure out a way to make certain that what we demand for our community is actually given to us on behalf of our community. We have to go to break to pay some bills. Lindell, don't go anywhere, because I want to hear from you. We have CES 45 in the building, and Morgan Clevenger. Stay with us, WBOK 1230 AM, what New Orleans is talking about all day long.
This is your news update for WBOK 1230 AM from WDSU. For all your news and weather, watch WDSU News, New Orleans' leader in live, local, late-breaking news. Today at noon and 4 p.m.
Expect a clear, cool start, but then clouds eventually increase as we get into the afternoon. We'll be on the warmer side today. Highs will be into the mid-60s for us, but we are looking at chances for rain as we get to tonight. Overnight showers into your early Saturday morning, leaving by the afternoon. Highs for Saturday make it into the 70s, but a cold front moves in. We're talking about 40s for your highs for Sunday. From the WDSU First Warning Weather Center, I'm Raven Richard.
This is the story of the one who, as a maintenance specialist for a historic high-rise, knows that vintage charm historically needs constant attention. Which is why when it's time to upgrade turn-of-the-century mechanicals, they turn to Grainger. With easy access to 1 million-plus products and the scale to deliver when and where you need them, the right tools and supplies are never far away. So the one can keep that vintage building running like new. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
The National World War II Museum. Located in the Warehouse District of New Orleans, the National World War II Museum tells the story of America's experience in the war that changed the world, why it was fought, how it was won, and what it means today. Visit them online at www.nationalww2museum.org for time tickets and safety information.
The New Orleans Jazz and Heritage Foundation is the nonprofit organization that owns the New Orleans Jazz and Heritage Festival presented by Shell. With the funds generated from Jazz Fest, the foundation invests in Louisiana communities through economic development, cultural enrichment, and free educational programs. To learn more about the New Orleans Jazz and Heritage Foundation, please visit us at www.jazzandheritage.org.
Visit DePaul's new Algiers Health Center at 2801 General de Gaulle Drive to receive primary and preventive care for both adults and children. Services also include behavioral health, imaging, and on-site pharmacy, vision, Medicaid enrollment assistance, and more. For appointments, visit DePaulCommunityHealthCenters.org or call 504-207-3060. Hey everybody, it's Kimber White Dupree.
And it's Graylin Bryant Banks from the front porch. We're coming up next.
Good morning, Wake Up.
The Good Morning Show. Good morning. On WBOK 1230 AM.
Morning Show. I am your host, Dr. Ashanta White. Super producer Nara Sanders is behind the glass, and our GM is also over there, Mr. Justin Lewis. We have Lindell on the phone, but before I take Lindell call, let me tell y'all what Seth just did me. Y'all know the off-air conversation is always so dynamic, and I'm up here going bananas. I didn't even know he was live, so y'all forgive me for my colorful language and all of the things I had to say off air because that was not made for TV.
Yes, Lord.
Good morning, Lindell. Welcome to the Good Morning Show.
Hey, good morning, Dr. White. Good morning, guest. Dr. White, I know you have a few seconds. I just wanted to, I kind of disagree with the conversation. Let me tell you all right.
Okay.
First of all, the Jeff Landry stuff didn't just, the council for Jefferson Parish didn't just pick up the orders of Jeff Landry. When Hans Liljeburg ran, a few months back for the Jefferson Parish Council, he's a former judge. He's a council member now. He ran on the premise of making that an issue before Landry even took office, one. Number two, with the homeless problem, I'm pretty much in the same position as those in Jefferson Parish who are like, I hate to say it, but we don't want it. They've made the rocks, they put the rocks on the side of the road and these barriers so that you can't stand, the folk cannot stand there with their signs or whatever. And they even tell you, they've even placed a sign, a permanent sign made by the parish that says, do not give money and things that if you want to give them information, they've even put on the sign, send them to New Orleans because they don't even have a shelter in Jefferson Parish. So what happens when you start bringing an influx, one come over, a lot come over, your whole quality of life diminishes. At some point, somewhere within the metropolitan area, you have to have a set standard of a good quality of life. Michelle Obama gave millions of dollars to the city of New Orleans to eradicate the homeless problem, right? That was before Trump came into office. That was before Biden came into office. We've had elected officials in Orleans Parish who have been in a position to do what is being done now by Jeff Landry and his folk. If they didn't do it, now someone is coming through to do it. Everything shouldn't be seen with a racist eye or eye of racism. There are white folk who are out there prejudiced that they're sweeping off the streets, just like there are black folk out there who they're sweeping off the streets. At a certain point, some things have to be done. What this does underscore is that we have to start looking at the people we have in office now and start saying, look. So when we have folk who get upset because we say that after 40 years of African-American leadership, look at us now. Here's an example. We get money from a black administration in the White House with black leadership. And what has happened? So I have to say to you this morning, as much as I love you, I have to disagree with you on that one. I'm all for the ordinance of keeping them out of Jefferson Parish. Find a place to put them. You've had millions of dollars that have come in over and over and over and over again. Orleans Parish have so many buildings that they own that they can put those folk in, and they're not doing it. We got to hold your feet accountable. But I have to agree with JP. Don't bring it here. That's you need to figure that problem out.
So, Lindell.
Listen, thank you, Lindell. We're going to answer you, but I want you to hang up and keep
you
listening,
wanted to
okay?
answer a question, Doctor.
I wanted to ask you a question. Me, I don't know about
go
time.
ahead.
But yeah, I just wanted to know how is the homeless or the unhoused population, hindering your quality of life?
Because when you who wants to live around it? Right there at Algiers right now, they're trying to put an apartment complex over near English Turn, right? You know, all those people are really fighting against those apartments being put over there by English Turn.
No, I'm specifically asking you. I'm specifically asking you, how are the unhoused hindering
because if I have
your
homeless
quality
folks sitting
of life?
outside my door, I don't want to live there. If I have homeless folk in my community that's just sitting out here in the parking lots across the street where I have a 4-year-old kid, I don't want it around me. When I buy a $400,000 or $200,000 home, I didn't buy it because I wanted to look at the view of those folk across the street from me. I bought it because of the area where I wanted to live, right? Then I don't need you to impede and give me something or allow something like that to happen when I didn't pay for that.
All right, I got an answer for you. I want you to hang up and listen. I got an answer for you. Listen, I appreciate all the callers, even when their perspectives differ from mine. But this is what I will say, because I think somehow what you say and what people hear gets misconstrued. I don't have an issue with folk saying, that this makes me uncomfortable. This is what I'm saying is homeless people are still people. They still deserve to have dignity. They still deserve humanity. Simply because they can't afford to have a roof over their head does not make them less human. That's my first thing. My second thing was, I don't think you're disagreeing with me. NOLA.com is the article I was reading from. That was not my personal opinion about when they made the ordinance. The article says they did it just hours after state officials. That makes it seem like you're following the lead of your state officials. That was, in my opinion, that was a statement from the article. I understand that things might have started prior to this administration, but my stance on it still remains. We are all one Hurricane Katrina away from homelessness ourselves. And Katrina taught us that, right? We're all one wildfire away from being homeless ourselves. And so for me, my answer would be keep that same energy when you need the help from somebody, because you might have not bought your $200,000 house to see homeless people, but those homeless people also didn't intend to be homeless outside your $200,000 house. So for me, I am just asking that we treat people with dignity and humanity. Simply because they're unhoused does not mean that they don't deserve to have us care for them in a way that honors their humanity. And putting folk in a warehouse without a transitional plan or wraparound services for how to eliminate or reduce their homelessness does nothing but put a Band-Aid on a bullet wound. Because what we do know is all of this is being done in preparation for the Super Bowl. What happens the day after the Super Bowl? I'm not mad at you for not wanting the homeless people outside your house. What I'm saying is, what is our plan to help service these people? Because homelessness is a crisis, period. When people have crisis in their life, normally folk come to help them, right? And so that's all I'm saying. If a blanket and a tent is all I got, you don't have the right to throw it in the trash and tell me that you helping me. That's a lie. That's all I'm saying. I'm not mad at Lindell for his stance. That's his opinion. You're not disagreeing with me. I actually think that you have a right to feel how you feel about your quality of living and what that looks like. What I'm saying is, I've been in a position where I had to rely on governmental assistance. So I know what that feels like to need help from somebody, and then those same somebodies are judging you and looking down on you as if you're not human, as if you don't have any dignity. We don't have to disrespect people or talk down on people because they're in a position that most of them don't want to be in.
Now, God put us here to assist people and help people, and if you're in a position to where you should offer solutions in a positive way to help the people in your community. And I never seen the unhoused be around Eastover or, these $400,000 homes. They always, downtown,
in the hood, round
somewhere
us.
Where, not necessarily around us.
Yes, around us, the people who have respect for them, though.
Around areas where it's you can easily get different amenities,
and transition by the bridge.
Yeah, for your survival. So they're not around.
And you have to remember
those
that
areas.
A lot of unhoused people, homeless people, they have jobs. their jobs.
I know a lot of employed people who live in cars,
and they're working in the tourist areas because that's where they can get a job.
So instead of saying let's raise the living wage, right?
Yeah.
Instead of saying let's make sure that there's affordable housing for people, we're talking about we don't want them around us. But we could very well be us. Any crisis could put us in that position. So that's all I'm saying. I'm not mad about anybody feeling like I don't want you around my house. But what I'm saying is, don't blame the person that's suffering through the crisis. There are broken systems that perpetuate homelessness. That's the first thing. And again, I want to be very clear. I was reading from an article from NOLA.com that said the council approved this ordinance just hours after state officials. That wasn't me saying it. That was the article saying it. So all I want people to understand is we're not saying that you're wrong about what you want for your community. We're just saying those people are also people, and elected officials and people who are entrusted to make laws and legislation for us are in charge of making certain that we look after people in a dignified way.
And that's what it's about. It's about fighting for other people. And that's why we're doing this second annual Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Freedom March, and fighting for civil rights and equality and humanity. And that's what we should do as a people. And we want everybody to come out this Monday, 12 noon, 901 North Rampart, participate, come be in a space. And there's a ton of different Dr. Martin Luther King events happening all weekend long. And we want people to just be aware of all of the people in our culture who fought, the Harriet Tubmans, the Dr. Maya Angelos, all of these people. Like, we should have family time where we share and talk about the contributions, of our community and all of the people that, paved the way for us to be free in this culture, in this city, and do the work that we're doing.
You got 30 seconds, Mari. What's your takeaway?
Bringing the children, the elders together, particularly the children, because we are coming into a time where in a few years there won't be anybody left alive who went through that struggle. And Martin Luther King is already a distant icon for a lot of our children. It's a holiday. So we want to make sure our children and our elders can come together so that knowledge and that sense of fighting, standing up, and moving everything forward is still present for our kids. They understand what they have to do.
The Freedom March, Louis Armstrong Park, 12 noon, January 20th. Please come out. It's where faith, culture, and community comes together. And also the Community Bookstore has an event going on Saturday, January 18, 2025, from 1 p.m. to 3 p.m. That is 2523 Bayou Road here in New Orleans. Community Bookstore, Saturday, January 18, 2025, 1 to 3. If you have time, please stop over there on Bayou Road and say hello to Mama Vera and Mama Jen for us. But listen, we want to thank everybody that joined us today on the show. We had our partners from Delgado. We have Cessful 5 and Morgan Clevenger in the building. And we also had folks from the Power Coalition, Step Up Louisiana, and Women of Action. This has been a dynamic show. And all we want is dignity and humanity for all mankind. This is WBOK 1230 AM, what New Orleans is talking about all day long.